Got to get the waves right. You know what I'm saying? We are live. Listen, well, got to make sure we're right when we get this thing kicked off, right? Let's see here. So I'm learning how to use YouTube Live. So just bear with the brother just for a moment while I navigate through this here. I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to post this video here. And so I'm posting this on, what's this thing called? Facebook right now. So give me a few seconds and then we're going to start Instagram. We're just going to do some Q&A. I usually have a whole masterclass prepared. But let's see. Boom, boom, boom. So we are live now. Let me go over to Instagram. All right, I'm back over here. I gotta adjust my chair or something because the top of my head is cut off. Now it's too low. See, you seeing this live, you know what I mean? No outtakes, no editing, none of that stuff. We're gonna get right to it. Have a good time. All right, let's go live on Instagram. And then we're gonna do this. We're gonna see who jumps on. I'm gonna invite some folks. Am I allowed to play music like right now? Could I have some smooth grooves playing right now? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. SJ, my guy, what's happening? So I'm learning how to use YouTube. So I'm on YouTube Live right now. I sent it over to Facebook so that folks can access it from there. So yeah, I'm working it out. So I didn't prepare a masterclass, but I am a masterclass. So I'm here for questions about life, about relationships, about parenting, about growth, about transformation, about self-esteem, about self-image, about manhood, fatherhood, about step parenting, which I don't use the word step because once you're mine. Anything and everything. Let's rock and roll. So I'm gonna fire this out to a couple of folks. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang. Bye. I know you're on here, but I think I just sent it to you. All right. Boom. All right. Working hard over here, brother. You know what I mean? Just trying to figure this technology out so I can get all this stuff that I have in here out. You know what I mean? I feel like I've been being stingy or selfish with it. You know what I mean? Not intentionally, but I need to get this stuff out. So let's get it. So again, I didn't prepare a masterclass yet, or should I say for today? Not yet. I appreciate you, brother. You always look out for me, brother. Always sharing and getting the stuff out there. So I really, really appreciate that. So yeah, let's rock. So I'm going to move this here. I sent that out to the Facebook. You did as well. I appreciate it. So let's see. Let's start us off, SJ. Fire a question about anything under the sun. Anything under the sun. And I'm here. I'm at the plate. I'm at the plate ready. I don't know. I don't know how to play baseball, so I don't know which way. I don't know. If I wouldn't have said anything, Noah would have known. But I think the dominant hand goes up top. I have no clue. But anyway, let's do it. Fire away. If you don't have one, I can play a beat. I can just freestyle. If you don't have one, anything that perhaps I've shared or talked about over these past few days, man, thank you for standing with me and supporting me in all of this. Any questions I can answer, anything I can double back to, you see my double back? Anything I can double back to so that we can make this thing happen. All right, so I need to move this camera so that they are aligned so that this one doesn't have me, all sideways. I'll figure this part out later, but I didn't want to not show up at 12:30. Anyway, what we got? What we got? Anything? Fire away. You want to come on camera with me? Let's do it. All right. I'm going to start, right? Having yes men in your circle, how can you identify? So you want to make sure that you aren't, and this is me checking for clarity right here, right? You want to make sure that the people that you are connected to, that you're working with, or like you said, that are in your circle, you're asking, how do you make sure they aren't just yes men, right? How do you make sure that they aren't just riding your coattails? How do you make sure that they are bringing value to the circle and not just letting you lead and just hanging on for the spoils of victory? And also, more importantly, right, not enabling you to freaking drown or crash and burn and not stepping up and not saying anything and not challenging you. So how do you identify was the question. So self-awareness, I would say that's where it starts, right? Most times we know, or once we become more and more self-aware, we know when we're tripping a little bit, right? We know when we're a little off. And if we haven't quite gotten there yet, then that would be the first thing I would take a look at, right? Because it's amazing to have good people in your circle that can challenge you, that can push you, that can help you to grow and become better. But first and foremost, I need to be self-aware, right? Like, I have an amazing wife. I have some amazing people that I'm close to that, that don't mind checking me or don't mind questioning my behaviors, especially if I'm doing something that seems a little, off or a little suspect. But before it ever gets to them, before it comes to me, I've already acknowledged it myself because I've become so self-aware. So let's look at what that means, right? Self-awareness is knowing what you're thinking and why you're thinking it, knowing what you're doing and why you're doing it while you're doing it, right? While you're in the moment, not 2020 hindsight, right? I'm talking about in the moment, you understand what, okay, the thought comes in and then you process it and you understand why you're thinking that. You challenge your thoughts, right? You challenge your words, you challenge your actions. And by challenge, I mean you're conscious of them. You're not just out here running amok. So, and then when something doesn't align with your values, when something doesn't align with your goals, when something doesn't align with who you are in pursuit of becoming, right? The higher expression of you, then you check yourself, right? That's the goal with, self-awareness, right? So that's the first thing, right? We need to get to the point where we have that self-check in order, right? Where we're able to check ourselves. Now, when we talk about if we have a circle, then of course we don't want yes men, we don't want enablers, we don't want anyone to sit and watch us drown because we just drown so well, right? We don't want people that are just so captivated by us that they don't challenge us, or we don't want people who are so dependent upon us that they may be afraid, right, to challenge us. So how do we identify? The first thing I want to say is self-awareness, right? Self-awareness is first, paying attention. And then, right, if I'm going off the deep end, right, and no one said anything, now I have to challenge that. Like SJ, you just gonna have me out here looking crazy? Like I'm live, I'm talking to you, and you didn't tell me I had a big old something in my nose, right? You didn't tell me I had, green beans in my teeth. You know what I mean? And I'm just obviously making up simple illustrations. But if you in my corner, if you my man, you say, yo, you on the camera, you got a big old, come on, man, get that right. You know what I mean? So whatever it might be, right? If once I recognize it, then I can challenge those people, right? So what I have to do is become really, really self-aware. And then I have to make it okay to challenge, make it okay to push, right? So as the leader, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push you. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to question you. I'm going to hold you to a high standard. I'm going to hold you to what you said you wanted, right? So something simple like diet. If you tell me you want to drop a few pounds, and every time I see you, you have a you have a Pepsi and 17 little Debbie's and 5 bags of chips, I'm going to call you out on that. Hold up, fam. Where does this fit in with you losing 10 pounds? Talk to me. How does this fit? You know what I mean? You said you wanted to take better care of yourself. You said you wanted to get in shape. You said you wanted to, pardon me, you said you wanted to do ... right? You said you wanted to get back to this size. So where does this fit? What's going on? And look, how can I help you? As a matter of fact, this is how I'm gonna help you right now. Hand it over. Come on, man. Give me that. Give me that. Give me the Pepsi. Give me that. So now what I'm doing is I'm creating an environment where we do that, where we push each other, where we test each other, where we challenge each other, where we lift each other up, where we're iron sharpening iron, right? Where we are helping each other to reach the destination that we said we want to reach, right? So that's where I would say self-awareness, number one, and number two, be the person who is holding everyone accountable, right? And not in a jerkish kind of way, but in a way that says, hey, listen, we're headed over here. That can't go. Those behaviors, those attitudes, that type of energy can't go where we're going, right? And so you check it, right? You have those interactions, you have those tough conversations. So those are the two things where, that I would begin with, right? Let me get your comment. Most people don't have too many people in our circle that check our bad behavior. Exactly. And it can be a daunting thing for people, right? So that's why I said those two things are very, very important. Number one, self-awareness, right? Having an understanding of who I am, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, while I'm doing it. That's a mouthful, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, being self-aware and then also setting the tone, right? Being the one that checks in, being the one that is holding everyone accountable, right? Being that person that is that really good accountability partner that's checking in, that's pushing people, right? Let's say, for instance, today, right? I said I'm going to jump on and give a class every day at 12:30. Had I not jumped on, right, it's your responsibility as my brother, as someone holding me accountable, to hit me up. Hey, everything good? Looking forward to that 12:30 broadcast, man. That's my lunch. What's going on? Everything okay? And then I respond accordingly. And then I thank you, right, for checking on me. So you setting the tone in your circle, right? How about within your circle, right? If you have, however you want to schedule it, let's say, every 2 weeks we have a check-in, all right? And we go around, right? Hey, Sean, you said you were working on ... How's that coming along? Okay. How can we help? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, what's in your way? What are your roadblocks? You see what I'm saying? Setting up a situation where you have an accountability group where you are the leader, since you have a circle, whether that's 2 people or 22 people, right? Having those conversations, right? I have a couple people in my life I'm so blessed that I have those conversations with, right? What's going on with this? You said this. Did you get that done? How's it look? Do you need any help? What's this? What's that? What's this? What's that? And we have those good conversations, and it's like, man, that's encouraging, and it's motivating, and it's a push. So let's see. For those that are stuck in the rat race, how do we know we're ready to step out on faith and do what we're passionate about? So I would say this, right? If, from what I understand, what you're saying is, if I'm working, right, and I'm working because I have responsibilities, right? But my heart, my passion, my desire is to do something totally different. Then start it on the side, right? This is the advice everyone gives, right? Or should I say, this is the advice that makes the most sense to me. I can't speak for anyone but me. So begin on the side, right? Before I was able to work from home, I worked early mornings, I worked late nights, I worked every opportunity I could, right? Listen, I seized every opportunity. I sacrificed leisure, right? And for learning. So as I was developing, as I was doing things, right, as I was putting things in order and leaning in to follow my gut and my heart and leaning into my purpose, I had to, my responsibilities didn't go on pause. So again, I had to get up early in the morning and I had to get a little bit of work done. Listen, I had to take lunch breaks. I had to, work well into the night because I couldn't cheat my wife and children, right? I wasn't going to not be me. I wasn't going to not be a responsible husband and parent person. So I had to prioritize, right, my passions. Is that I had to prioritize that around my life. And thing is, a lot of people try to use the excuse of time. There's plenty of time, right? We're just not prioritizing properly, right? So most people don't have a time management issue. It's a priority management issue. You have the time, but most of us are prioritizing things. We haven't yet prioritized the thing that we say we want to do. So if you're working right now and it's just like, man, I get home from work and listen, you have to invest in yourself, right? So if energy is an issue, then you have to start looking at how you're budgeting your energy, how you're spending your time. What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are your conversations like? What's your timeline look like? Who are you following? You have to evaluate your life to make sure that you are feeding yourself things that give you good energy, right? And you have to take care of yourself, right? If you crash and burn every day, then perhaps you should take a look at, more exercise, right? And also, what are you putting in your body that's causing you to crash? Well, it's this job and these people. Okay, I get it. So use the job and these people that are driving you crazy and that are just draining you, right? Use that as inspiration to work on your goals, to work on the thing that you want to accomplish, right? And here's the thing. Here's what I learned, right? Because I was in the last position I had was really, really taxing, right? Helping people, and they had 99,000 questions. And some of the people I was working with were it was an older population, and so I'm helping them to navigate through technology and answering their questions. And I'm very very compassionate, and and so I'm walking people through some things, and I'm investing all of this time and energy because I wanted to save every person I possibly could, and it was draining. And I had to catch it and say, whoa, wait a minute. I'm investing way too much into this because it's taking away from me building my business and serving the people that I'm called to serve, right? I was getting my fix of service through the job. So I had to recognize that. And I said, you know what? I had to allot a certain percentage of energy for the job, right? I had to govern myself. Each interaction that I had, each meeting, I had to govern those interactions in a way that I only allotted a certain amount of energy for that. And then I began to make sure that, when I was finished my day, that I didn't overspend, right? I didn't overspend. I stayed within my budget and my energy budget. And then, right, I invested in my business. I invested in learning. I invested in developing myself. So having that, budgeting our time and energy is the thing, right? So prioritizing your thing and budgeting your time and energy so that you can invest in your thing. And believe, right? It won't happen overnight, you know what I mean? For 99.9% of us, but keep your head down, stay focused, and keep going. That's what I say to someone who's kind of juggling with that right now. Monitor your energy. Monitor how you're spending your time. What are you investing in, right? How are you spending it, right? Look at your budget, look at your energy budget, and look at that. Wow, this is really taking from me. So let's limit what I'm going to put here and take more energy and put it here. And you'll start to see things grow and change. And then before you know it, you'll be in a position to flip-flop those things, right? Or to completely eliminate the rat race, as Sean called it. What else? How do you know when a mentor is necessary? A mentor is necessary. You don't need to know. Think about it. We all need mentorship. I'm huge on it. Here's the thing, right? When we read, what are we doing? We're being mentored by that person, right? When we tune in and listen to something, we're being mentored by that person, right? When we go to a meeting, when we pay for a course, when we do right now, right now, this is mentorship, right? This is insight that you're going to take, right? This is knowledge and experience, being communicated in a way for you to take it and apply it to your own life. That's mentorship. Listen, we're mentored by our timeline every day, right? Those tweets that we read, those posts, they are shaping our thinking. So to your question, how do we know? I'm going to say we know because our lives are a reflection of us being mentored by someone or something, right? Some of us are being mentored by the community, right? But some of us are being mentored in the church. Some are being mentored over here. Most of us are being mentored by all of these things because we haven't taken responsibility for who we're going to allow to mentor us. So the answer to this question, I would say, or what I would say to a person who maybe, like, if that's something you're thinking about, or if it's just something that, if it's just a great question that you wanted to share, I would say this, that take responsibility for who you are allowing to mentor you, because we're all being mentored by someone or something, right? Everything that we watch is mentoring us, right? Everything that we listen to is mentoring us. Everywhere that we go, everything, every interaction, everything is, we're receiving information, and what we're doing is we're shaping our views of the world based off that information that's coming in. So that's why it's important to protect ourselves. That's why I always talk about auditing your timeline. That's why I always talk about being very, 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 very conscious of what you're listening to and what you're watching and who you're allowing in your personal space, right? Because that information is coming in and you're using it to shape your life. Whether we want to admit it or not, we are. Right? That information is coming in and we're taking that information and then we are shaping our lives around that information that's coming in. And it's coming from 1,000 different angles, right? Especially now, right? 2 minutes of scrolling, think about all the information that's coming in. And now you're left to decide what to do with that information. That Instagram is mentoring you. YouTube is mentoring you. So be conscious of who you're going to allow to mentor you, and be intentional about finding the mentor or mentors that are going to add value to your life and help you become the person that you desire to become. So that's super important. So I have dozens of mentors, right? Maybe not dozens, but I have several mentors, right? There are people, and most of them I've never met, right? But their work, right, mentors me, right? Their words, their work, it mentors me because I consume it, and then I consciously and intentionally apply it to areas of my life that are going to help me grow. Let's see. How do we tap into our superpowers when we're so invested in what is? When we are so invested in what is? How do we tap into our superpowers when we're so invested into what is? When you say what is, are you talking about our present reality that we can perceive with our eyes? Help me on the what is part. Now, superpowers, I'll start leaning into that, right? Okay, I got you. So thank you. So great question. How do we tap into our superpowers when we're so invested in our external reality, right? How do we tap in to the greatness that's inside of us when we look around and our reality, it doesn't match that, right? You're telling me you have greatness within you. Well, where? Because I look around and this doesn't match greatness, right? This looks like struggle to me. My definition of greatness is not this. So there's a disconnect somewhere. So the first thing I would say is we have to be awakened, right? We have to become conscious that we are gifted, we are talented, and that we have superpowers, right? That's the first thing I would say, right? We have to be awakened to the fact that, wow, we have superpowers. And now, me personally, I literally I teach about what I call our four superpowers that if we master, we can literally transform our lives. But there are many, many, many superpowers that we have, many, many gifts and talents, many, many things that were inherent, that we showed up to the world with. But what we do is we use them against us rather than using them for us. So I'm gonna give a couple of examples, right? How do we tap in? First thing is we have to be awakened to the fact that these powers exist. So one of them is focus, right? I always go to this. These are the superpowers that I teach on, right? The power of focus. Think about that for a moment. What you focus on is what you feel, right? What you lend your attention to, that's what's going to mentor you. And that's what's going to shape your thoughts. That's what's going to shape your views of the world. So it benefits us to be conscious of and intentional with or about what we focus on. So it's like if we watch a particular news channel, then that's what's feeding us. And then whatever that is, we're going to take that information and we're going to use that to shape our views of the world. If we listen to a particular type of music and that drills images and thoughts and perspectives in us, then that's how we're going to view the world, through that lens, because that's what we're focusing our attention on. And so that's what we're going to feel. And that's what's going to become our reality. Like you always talk about bending reality. So how do we bend reality? Based by what we focus on, right? What we focus on, it determines, what we take in, and then we have to process that information. And then that's what creates our reality. So we have to be intentional about what we focus on, right? And then our decisions. Think about it, our decisions. So now our lives are the sum total of our decisions. So all day we're making decisions. Most of them are unconscious. Well, if we become conscious decision makers, then we get to create our reality. Because again, I started with saying, right now, wherever you sit, wherever you stand, your external reality is who you are in this moment is the total of the decisions that you've been making, right? You decided A over B, then you decided C over D, right? Then you decide. So you made those decisions, and each decision led you to something, which led you to something, which led you to something, which led us to this particular moment in time. So being conscious and intentional with our decisions, right, is how we move the ball downfield. It's how we, again, begin to bend and shape our reality. And then communication, right? That's another superpower. The power of communication, right? And it's verbal communication and it's nonverbal communication. We're communicating, we're sending signals out to the world all the time, right? The energy that we show up with, right? Our enthusiasm, how we dress, what we do, right? We're sending out signals, right? So how we communicate, right? How we share our ideas, how we let the world know who we are is through our verbal and nonverbal communication, right? And so we need to be intentional about that, right? We need to be, it's like, we need to be intentional and we need to be appropriate. What the message that I want to convey, I'm going to convey through my words and through my body language, right? And through the way that I dress, through the way that I conduct myself. It's sending out messages into the world. Now, can messages get misinterpreted, and do different things mean different? Do different things have different meanings to different people? Of course, but it's your intention, right? My intention, when I wear these shirts every day, well, this is my logo, this is my brand, this is what I love to wear. I wear it, I'm promoting myself. And so that's why I do it. While I was setting things up, I had on a regular t-shirt. But then when I was ready to go live, I said, oh, let me change my shirt, because I'm going live. I need to have my shirt on, right? I'm communicating something, right? Jimmy's in the background because I just love Jimmy, right? But I'm communicating something, right? my journal and book, they're back there for a reason. I'm communicating something. So I'm taking responsibility to consciously communicate. That's a superpower, right? And the last superpower, well, not the last one, the last of the four that I focus on or talk about is imagination, right? Most of us use our imagination against us. Most of us imagine doom and gloom and things crashing and burning and everything that could go wrong. Well, I say to the contrary, what if you fly, right? Imagine flying. Imagine it actually working, right? Imagine winning, right? That's why the first question I ask a person when people reach out to me for coaching, right? I have a dialogue with them. And the first question I ask is, what would winning look like? And most times I send them this little simple document that I created, and it asks, what would winning look like? If 6 months from now, 1 year from now, you won, right? What would that look like? Most people don't even have an idea of what they're in pursuit of. So, and I asked them to look at four things, right? Your mental and emotional health. What would winning look like, right? If you won, if mentally and emotionally you were where you desire to be 6 months from now, what would that look like? What would that feel like? What would your experience in the world be like if you won, right? Your physical health. What would winning look like, right? Use your imagination to visualize that. Is it 10 pounds heavier? Is it 10 pounds lighter? Is it more muscle? Is it this? Is it that? Whatever it might be, right? What would winning look like in your relationships, right? Not only your romantic relationships, your relationships with your family, children, parents, whoever you're close to, connected to, friends, people that you work with, whatever. If you won, if your relationships were thriving and the connections were great and you had people that were feeding your soul and you were building something amazing, what would that look like? Is that even a thing for you? And then the fourth one I talk about is career. If you get it popping, if you start the business, if you get the promotion, if you reach that particular dollar amount, if you get this, whatever it might be, what would winning look like? And use that superpower of your imagination to project yourself forward, right? And then start to imagine and see yourself winning. And once you see it, and then we do what's called reverse engineering, we look at, okay, if this is where I want to be, then what are the steps to get me from where I am to where I want to be? And we begin to work on that. But most people only imagine worst case scenario, only imagine losing. And we're playing defense in life instead of playing offense, right? We're backpedaling and we're reacting to everything versus being on offense, putting our head down and being proactive and attacking life and making it happen. So that's how we tap into those superpowers. And that's just scratching the surface. We can go as deep as you want to go. If that's something you want to learn more about, just hit me up. I got you. Why can't I find love? I'm gonna have to sip on this one. Why can't I find love in my life? I want someone in my life and it's not going well. And I think God wants me to be alone. This is a reality for some people, right? And whenever this comes up, I always inquire about the individual, right? So why can't I find love in my life? What define that? What does that look like for you? Let's talk about it. So I would ask those types of questions because most people have an idea of what they don't want. Most people have an idea of what they don't want. Well, I want a woman who doesn't. Okay, well, you just defined everything you don't want. And that's what you're putting out into the atmosphere. And guess who's knocking at your door? Guess who you're meeting? That's what you're putting out there. What do you want? How about I'd like to be connected to a woman that ... And begin to look at that. And then once we get that out of the way, because most people don't have that idea, right? Most people, based on their past relationships, have figured out what they don't want, right? The hurts and pains and the things that they've gone through in their lives have said, look, I don't want a guy who does this. If attention isn't, I don't want a guy that plays video games. I don't want a guy that does this. And all those little things that aren't necessarily evil things, but life, my experiences have taught me that that's not what I want in my next relationship. So then I go to, are you the type of person, right, that can handle that, right? What are you? Let me see. What type of person are you, right? Are you loving? When you define what you're looking for, are you that? That's what I want to say, right? Are you that? are you are you when you look into me, are you that? What are you bringing to the table, right? And when I say that, that's the language that people use, and I'm not one of those people. I don't want to say that, but who are you at your core, right? What are your goals, right? What do you desire? What do you imagine in a relationship? What does a healthy, happy relationship even look like to you? How do you define that? And as you think about that, right, it's like, okay, am I the type of person who can attract this type of person? So I need to define what that looks like, right? And then I need to say, okay, am I the type of person that can attract that? And that's applicable in any arena, right? So when you're talking about that, we're talking about love, but now it's like, okay, I want to be the person that, you know, individuals, businesses, organizations, universities call in when they want someone to come in and teach a lesson, right? And it's 5 figures is the starting point. Okay, so am I built for that? Do I have what it takes to do that? So I can desire that all I want. That's great that I have that target. But now I need to work on me so that I can become the type of person that attracts those calls, right? So same thing in relationships. We can apply that anywhere. Okay, this is what you want. That's awesome. You can't find love. Well, let's define love first. Let's define what it is that you want. And then once we define it, right, then let's begin with, okay, what are you doing to become the type of person that can attract what it is that you say you want? Right. And so there's a lot of ways we can go with that. That's the Cliff's Notes, or no, not Cliff's Notes. That's the Reese Notes answer for that question. You know what I mean? Given the time that we have. But I figure out what it is you really want, right? Not what you don't want. Figure out what it is you actually want. And then look at yourself. Okay, am I the type of person? What do I need to do to become the type of person that can handle that? Right? What do I do to become the type of person that, what does that even look like? That's like if a woman says, well, I want to marry a rich man. Okay, well, what's a rich man's wife? What's that look like? What comes with that? Right? Well, you just said you're driven, you love your career, da 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 da. You don't want to give that up, but you want to marry a rich man. Well, what's that going to look like? How's that dynamic going to work? Let's go deeper and really look at. There's nothing wrong with desiring someone wealthy, absolutely nothing. But what am I? What does that really look like for me? And we really need to make sure that we're understanding that and that we're looking at the entire picture, because sometimes we zoom in and we see this little piece and it's, wow, we want that. But then we never consider who we have to become, right? Who we have to become in order to maintain that and handle that, right? It's like anything, right? Somebody just hit the freaking the lottery the other day for like 500 million, which means they're about to at least get a 100 million or two. I don't know the tax rate, but think about that. What if you just had a regular 9 to 5? What if you were just average Joe, making coffee every day for people, and now you run into 100 million plus? You need to become a millionaire, right? You need to become a multimillionaire here, lest you kill yourself with that money, right? So you need to become the type of person who can handle that particular relationship or those particular things that you're in pursuit of, right? I want a man that loves hard. Well, I want a woman that ... Are you the type of man that can handle? When I say handle, I mean maintain, add value to that type of person that you say you want in a relationship. So that's how I would answer that question. Again, these are the Reese Notes. This is just boom, 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 boom. And we're just doing Q&A off the top. Those that jumped on, hey, me. And, just fire away any question about life, relationships, self-image, self-esteem. Let's see. How do I get my spouse on board with my vision? I love this question because a lot of us, or should I say, a lot of people have that challenge, right? A lot of people think that that's a thing. And what I've learned in life is that the more on board you are, the more you show up for you, the more you invest your time and energy into your vision, then the more, in this case, your spouse, the people close to you, let's just use spouse, the more your spouse will buy in, right? Because here's the thing, the vision is yours. And so um, anyone else being on board is extra. So the first thing we have to do is make sure we're on board, right? That we're 1,000% and that we're not dabbling, right? That we're not a little something here and then no, and a little something here and then no, because our spouse and let's that we need that security, right? We need to know, wait a minute, what's going on? Which way are we going? Right? Because I'll follow you if you're leading me this way. We can go through the fire, but if you say we going through the fire and I prep for the fire, and then you say we going through this and we go and you're dancing all over the place, or you're about that fire life this week, and then I don't hear about fire for 4 weeks, and then you about that fire life again because you saw a video, and then so a lot of people are wishy-washy. So I want to get that out the way. First of all, you have to be all in and completely bought into your vision. And when you're completely bought into your vision, then it's more so about the principle, right, of love and support, right? Because here's the thing, right? My situation. My wife is totally bought into me. She's totally bought into me, right? What am I saying? My vision is to serve people. My vision is to touch lives. My vision is to help people tap into the amazing superpowers that they have inside of them, right? My vision is to help people become their own superhero, right? My vision is to transform the lives of people. My vision is that every interaction that I have, every person that comes in contact with me leaves me better off than they were when they came in contact with me. My vision is to serve. So that takes on many forms. But what she's seen is years of investing in myself, years of investing in my vision, years of head down, going forward, years of learning, years of this, years of that. So she supports me because I'm all in. So I don't need her to, quote unquote, I don't need her to be on board with the vision in the sense of be a part of it. Right? Her part in it is supporting me. Her part in it is making sure that our relationship is happy and healthy, is making sure that she does that she's an amazing wife, because that's what I need. Right? I knew what I needed. Right? And so I've never tried to get her on board. Right? I take her on the journey with me, and I don't make what I'm working on, I don't make that separate from her, so to speak. But I don't expect her to, slide up next to me and be on camera. That would be awesome though, because she's so insightful, right? And super intelligent. And that would be a great dialogue. But I don't expect her to say, "Oh, that's what you're doing? Move your chair over. Let me slide in there because yes, let's. I don't expect a let's. What I expect is what I receive. Okay, hey, how can I support? How can I help? Well, ... This is what I need. Okay, cool. Let's do it. Or when I bring things to the table, hey, listen, I need X amount of time. I need this space. I need to do this. Boom, boom, boom. And this is why. All right, cool. Like, I support you. If I decided tomorrow that, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm going to go become a Mac genius and learn how to fix MacBooks, she would support me because I would go all in on learning how to repair MacBooks. So make sure you're all in, right? Make sure you're not dabbling, and take your spouse on the journey with you and let them know what you need, right? Because do you really need her? Like, do I need my wife here on the camera with me, speaking and teaching and sharing? No. But guess what I need? I need her to, take my 8-year-old on a mission, right? Get him out of the house for a couple hours so I can zone out and do what I need to do. Right? Or, you know what I mean? Whatever it might be, right? I just kind of freestyle that one. But I need her to support me in the way that she would if I was going to punch a clock, right? So it's about having that strength in that relationship and making sure that we have that mutual respect. Because again, I'm totally on board and supportive of her, right? In the work that she does. And I make sure that I'm there for her in the way that she needs me to be there. I think that's worth leaning into a little bit. I'm there for her in the way that she needs me to be this. Yes, that she needs me to be there, right? And I desire for her to be there for me in the way that I need her to be there. What we need from each other is different. What we want, what we desire from each other is very, very different, right? So whatever her needs are, it's my responsibility, it's my duty to make sure that those needs are met. Whatever support looks like for her, I adjust and I learn how to communicate with her and how to support her in the part of me in the way that she needs to be supported and vice versa. Right. So it's like I don't need her to wait on me. I don't need her to I don't really need her to do anything for me as far as just the daily routine around the house. I'm super self-sufficient, right? I take care of things. I cook, I clean, I take care of the house. I do laundry. So I don't like that doesn't impress me. You know what I want from her? I want her to listen. I want her to listen when I'm speaking, right? And I don't mean listen to me, do what I say. I mean, listen, be a good listener, right? I want her to keep me accountable, right, to my word, right? I want her to challenge me and help me stay sharp. Like back to one of your earlier questions, Sean, right? The things that I need from her, I communicated early on, and I make sure that I get them from her, because a part of that, it's my responsibility to make sure that I get what I need, right? I don't put it all on her, because what I needed last week is a little bit different than what I need this week. So if this week I need more attention, then I let her know that, right? And I don't have to whine and say, I need more attention. I just say, hey, tonight, hey, I picked this movie. We're going to watch it tonight. What you want for a snack? See how I bully that? I didn't even ask if you had some time. This is what we're doing. You know what I mean? Right? And same for her. If she needs a minute, then she needs to let me know, because she unwinds by playing her game and zoning out and doing little things. So if that's how she unwinds, then I give her space to do that. But if this week she needs to be here, right? And she needs some whatever she needs from me, then I make the adjustment. But it's up to her to communicate that to me. So there's a lot of moving parts in there with what I just said. But the biggest part is making sure that you are all in. And also communicating what your needs are, what support looks like for you, right? And keeping them accountable. And keeping them accountable doesn't mean yelling. It doesn't mean, it doesn't mean complaining. It doesn't mean being passive aggressive when you don't get what you need. Keeping them accountable means communicating. Hey, sweetie, listen, when I'm speaking, I really need you to allow me to finish my thought. I know I go all over the place. That's how my brain works, right? Because my mind is moving 100 times faster than I'm able to articulate, and especially when I get excited. So I just need you to let me get it out. Okay, my fault, no problem. I'm excited too, and that's why I jumped in, but you're right. Let me give you a second. Just give me a few seconds to process through this. That's how we build. We communicate. I let her know what I need, and she's perfectly okay with it. Now, if she kicks and fights against, supporting me, the human, her husband, that's a different conversation. But as far as how do I build that connection and get her to support me in the way that I desire support, that's more on me than it is on her. Any other questions? Anything else I can answer right quick while I finish figuring out this whole little YouTube studio setup thingy. I'm excited about that, because clearly, if you know me at all, I like depth. I like long. So a couple minutes for me isn't enough. I like to peel back all the layers and get to the root of a thing. How do I get one of your shirts? That's too easy. That's too easy. So hit me up, we'll talk about that. I'm actually that's on my list to do, is to set up a site where folks can pick up the shirts and the books, and I actually have some other shirts that I'm working on as well. So yeah, I'm not going to put myself on the hook yet for when that'll be ready. But you inquiring about a shirt, I can get you a shirt, right? Until they're ready to be available to everyone. Thank you. I appreciate that. What else? And what other question can I answer? What else? Thank you for that, Sean. And I need to make myself a note. How can we understand failure? How can we understand failure? So that's a good question to understand failure. So I don't want to answer it in like the normal what people say since here's what comes to mind. So I think the first thing goes back to self-awareness, understanding, like being conscious, right? I'm big on that. That's always the first thing that I go to, right? Understanding the situation, right? What's going on and why, right? And when we take action and we get feedback, right? That's what I want to say, right? So we become conscious of what's going on, right? And then when we become conscious, we redefine, right? We change our relationship with failure. So what if we just redefined it? What if we just said feedback, right? What if we just decide we don't believe in failure, right? So what if I say I don't believe in failure? It's feedback, right? It's the world, it's the environment giving me feedback. I try something, this part goes through beautifully, this part crashes and burns. Okay, what made that go through beautifully? What made that successful? Okay, boom, boom, boom. And what made that crash and burn? Okay, boom, boom, boom. Now back to the drawing board, try again, right? What if it's just feedback? So everything is about perspective is what I'm getting at, right? And how we define it. So one of my core values is this. One of the rules that I live by is this. Nothing has meaning until I assign it meaning. So what if I don't want it to, I never fail, because every time, and people say, yeah, of course you do. No. I never fail. And here's why. Because first of all, I have the courage to try, right? I have the courage to I'm in the game. I'm on the court. I'm shooting. So if you're in the game, there's no fail. You're in the game, right? Most people are in the stands. So you're an active participant. So that's one thing, right? And I've decided that everything adds value to me. So even if I crash and burn, just that's the language that I'm using, right? I learn from it. I've decided that every experience, right, is happening, or here's another one of my rules, right? Life doesn't happen to me, life happens for me. So this experience, right, this failure, since that's the word that we're using, right? This situation happened, and what did this show up to teach me? Notice I went straight to what are the lessons in this? How can I use this crash and burn how can I use this to make me become a better person? Right? What are the lessons in this particular situation? Right? What did this show up to teach me? Wow. Thank you, crash and burn. Thank you. Wow. Man, there's a lot of lessons in that. You ever hear people say that you learn so much more from failure than success? Because if it goes through right, you might get cocky. You know what I mean? Or you might only stay in that particular lane because you were successful. But when it crashes and burns, right, you have to decide what that means. So I've decided that when it crashes and burns, that it happened for me. Right. And so since it's happening for me, I'm going to look at all of the lessons, right? And I'm going to pull all of those lessons from it, and I'm going to add them to my tool bag, right? I want to add them to my tools, and it's going to make me a better person. So now, next go round, because I'm not going to stop. Next go round, now I've learned something. This is this, and this is that. This is this. And sometimes you learn stuff at level 4 that you won't need to level 11. But just hold on to it. It'll make sense somewhere. Think about it. If you glance back in your life, you'll think about how boom, 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 how dots connected, but you had to go through this in order for this to happen. And had you not had this experience, you wouldn't have had the information for when you met this person and did this. And then had you not met this person, or had you not understood this, then when you met this person, you wouldn't have even recognized this. It's all connected. So it's up to me to be open to all of these experiences, right? To be open and to decide. Again, I've decided that life happens for me, not to me, right? So what that means is, since this is happening for me, it's up to me to define what it is. Because again, what's the rule, right? Nothing has meaning until I assign it meaning, right? And so the meaning of this is that, yes, this is an opportunity for me to grow and become a better person. So, failure is one of those things. If we just redefine it, then, we win, because it happens for us. How can you become consciously aware? That's a journey in itself. And you make it sound easy. It took me years to become conscious. What are the steps? I don't think that so first of all, you're absolutely right. And I say it very casually, like it's a simple thing, but it's not super simple. But I'll give a couple quick principles, right? Living consciously means living on high alert, right? Think about that. There's certain environments where you just casually walk down the street or the road, you ain't tripping. But then there's certain environments where your head's on a swivel. Whoa, wait a minute. There's a lot going on, and depending on where you're from, I'm from North Philly. I'm from an urban environment. I'm from where it's all concrete. So I'm comfortable in those situations. Obviously, my head's on a swivel, and I have certain reflexes that came with growing up in that environment, right? But then what happens is pardon me, my phone rang. Then what happens is I get in, let's say I go out to the woods somewhere, I'm not comfortable. So now I'm like, my alert level goes way up, right? Remember they had those alert levels, you know what I mean? Those are my alert level. Now I'm on DEFCON 5, or I don't know what they call it, but I'm whoa, wait, what was that? You know what I mean? Because I'm not comfortable with. And then some people who grew up in that particular environment drop them off in the middle of the city, and they like, what the hell? So living on high alert, right? That's what I call it. And living on high alert, is about learning the power of presence, being in the moment, because it's very, very challenging for me to be conscious if I'm thinking about yesterday or thinking about tomorrow. So learning the power of being present, being here in this moment, the power of now, right? And then, of course, there's self-awareness, something I keep coming back to, right? Taking responsibility and understanding and being aware of what I'm thinking and why I'm thinking it while I'm thinking it. Ooh, that's tough to say, right? What I'm doing, being aware of what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, while I'm doing it, right? So self-awareness and presence, right, is the power of being in the moment, being present. These things, living on high alert, head on a swivel. So what that means is acknowledging your thoughts, right? Thinking about what you're thinking, right? So again, these are not simple concepts, right? These are not easy things that we can just snap a finger and do. It definitely takes time, but we have to be willing to invest. We have to recognize the importance of it. And that's why I always go to that first, because lest we recognize that something needs to be done, are we even going to take an action? Are we even going to do anything? So it begins with that awareness. It begins with paying attention, right? And I've decided that my life is valuable, right? I've decided that it's important for me to pay attention to everything that encompasses my life, So, my thoughts, right? I pay attention to what I'm thinking. Just because I thought it doesn't mean it's good. I need to challenge what I'm thinking and acknowledge, well, what was that? I need to pay attention to how I'm feeling. Why did that make me feel? When I was around this person, I felt this way. When I was in this environment, I felt this way. What's that about? I'm going to acknowledge that, right? I'm going to pay attention to that. I'm going to question it. And then I'm going to say, okay, when this feeling showed up, these people were present, or this was the situation. That's how we learn. That's how we develop. That's how we develop our minds and our thoughts. So taking responsibility for that, right? But it's very tough to do when we're dividing our time up between yesterday and tomorrow. So self-awareness and learning the power of presence, right? The power of being in the moment, the power of now. Those are life-changing things. That's what opens us up to begin to live a conscious life, right? We start to pay attention. Most people have their lives on autopilot, right? Most people are just kind of coasting through the day and aren't even aware of what's going on around them. We're just like stormtroopers. We're just falling in line, and we just have our marching orders, and we're just going. We're not even paying attention, right? We're not even seeing the sights and hearing the sounds and smelling the smells. We're not experiencing life fully, right? Because we're on autopilot. We get in the car, and then we blink. We're in the parking space at work. We go through the work day, get back in the car, boom, blink, we're in front of the house. And it's like the Groundhog Day movie, and then we just get into this repetitive cycle, and then we don't take responsibility for our lives because we're stuck on autopilot. So we have to take our lives off of autopilot and become conscious thinkers and conscious decision makers, and take responsibility for our focus. So, those are some of the things that we can do. Obviously, it's deeper than that. These are just the Reese notes. What is your definition of success? You know what? I don't know. That's a really good question. It's not even something that I think about. Like, how do I define success? I think I would have to really go to a real textbook definition of success, because honestly, I think that success is going to look different for every person. So I believe that being self-aware and understanding who you are and what your goals are, what you desire, defining what happiness looks like for you. So I don't know if there's a uniform definition. I'm sure I could come up with something that basically outlines my perspective on success, but I think it's just really that's funny. That's such a simple question, but for me, it's such a deep question, because I think each individual has to define success, right? I think that's a part of the challenge that we have as people, because we're processing so much information, right? So much stuff is coming at us all day, and we are allowing others to define success for us, and we're in pursuit of goals that aren't even ours. Think about that. Think about how many things you pursued in your lifetime that you thought was, you know what I mean? And that wasn't even a thing. You really weren't interested in that, but the environment told you that was success. And so you just fell in line. So I think for me, I think my definition of success is an individual figuring out their definition of success, right? Figuring out who they are. Really being true to themselves, right? I think people defining who they are, right? Having clarity with their identity. And again, I could go all day into this, right? But I believe that each individual has to define success for themselves and have the courage to pursue whatever that looks like, right? That's actually what my logo is about, right? If you notice, it's two faces, right? It's the same dude, and he's clean cut, and he has a tie on this side, if you can see it, right? And then on the other side, he's a little scruffy, has a scar, has a little fro going, and has the big beard, and he's wearing a hoodie. And so I'm by no means saying that this joke is successful and this one is not. What it says is that you need to define you, right? There's a greater version of you on the inside of you that's waiting to come out, right? Some people are the clean cut dude in a suit, and and there's another part of them screaming to come forward, right? They define themselves this way because that's what they were told to do. That's what society told them to do. And I get it, that's fine. But then that other part of them is screaming, right? Wanting to be free, right? And then some people are here and life has put them in certain, I'm not going to say that. I don't like to say words like that. Life has happened, right? And now they've allowed themselves to live here when their heart's desire is to live here. And the point is, it is whatever you say it is. And so if you want to, whatever it is you desire for you, put your all into becoming that. So, I went around and around the mulberry bush really because I was kind of stumped. So I was just throwing some stuff out there and hopefully, someone is able to grab something from that. All right, this is the last one because I need to get back to work. So happiness, not that this isn't work, especially for me, but happiness versus joy, what's the difference? Again, this is one of those things where when I use them interchangeably. And the reason that I do that is because when I'm talking about happiness or when I'm talking about joy, what I'm talking about is a state of being, right? Of course, we can go to the dictionary and we can look at the differences and such. Most people say that happiness comes with things, or most happiness is a point that you reach, where joy is just a state of being. Now, I use them interchangeably, right? So whatever works best for you. I use them interchangeably because what I pursue is to live a happy life, is to live in a constant state of joy, right? So for me, they're interchangeable. Now, I could do a study and figure and really outline the differences. But honestly, for me, because my goal is not to occasionally be at a certain state, my goal is to live in a state of joy and happiness, right? So all of my pursuits are for that, right? I believe that it's that commercial. It's a beer commercial. And I think it came on in the Super Bowl and it's so awesome. And it talks about, it's like, what if we had it backwards? What if the joy isn't only at the end when we're hoisting up the trophy, right? What if the joy was the entire process, right? So for me, I'm looking like my goal is to enjoy every moment of my life. Right? Is to enjoy every day, is to create moments, is to live fully. And so I define that I can use happiness and joy interchangeably because I'm crystal clear on, what I'm in pursuit of, right? On who I am. And then the greater version of me that I'm every day becoming. So I'm probably not the best person to really break down the difference there. I say this, pursue joy and happiness, right? Look at the definitions and pursue them both, right? Pursue becoming the absolute best version of you, right? So listen, I appreciate you. Thanks, SJ, for all these amazing questions, man. You are the man. Everyone that jumped on. Thank you for the questions and comments, man. I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and post this because, this was great. And I didn't expect it to have this much depth, but I'm excited. I don't know why I didn't, because that's who I am, right? See, we have to watch what we think and say, right? I just thought I had a little goofy thought and then I said it out loud and I'm like, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't this be a conversation that was full of depth and full of gems, right? Full of life-changing information. That's what I pursue every day, right? That's who I am. So anyway, we have to be careful, right? With those thoughts. And just because that thought came to me doesn't mean that it was right. So I need to be conscious of that. But consciousness right there, I caught it and I acknowledged it right there. And now I'm better. So I failed, but I didn't, right? I'm better for that. Now I'm going to really, really ensure that I'm checking my language, that I'm putting the right energy and language out into the atmosphere and making sure that I'm constantly growing. So I gave and I received in this time. So anyway, I appreciate you all. Thanks so much. Kind sir, good afternoon. You gotta watch the replay. This was another good one, man. Have a wonderful rest of y'all day. Got to get back to work. I'm excited.